It is 5:30 and we have a quorum. I'd like to applaud the USPS. I did get my packet on
Early.
Saturday.
Got mine on Friday.
Ooh.
First time.
So roll has been taken. So look for a motion to approve the agenda as printed. Motion by Dennis. Second by Leo to approve the agenda as printed. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Same thing for the minutes. I didn't see anything in there that I thought needed adjusting. Dennis is shaking his head no. Travis is nodding yes.
No, we're good. Sorry.
So I have a motion from Travis and a second by Dennis to approve the minutes as printed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Okay, we have two public hearings scheduled for this evening. One is a Todd Fuller request for variance. This is continued from last month. The applicant is seeking approval of an after-the-fact variance to the minimum lot width at the building setback in a shoreland district for an existing structure on parcel ID 18.025.3000, the southeast quarter of the northwest quarter, section 25, township 141 north, range 48W, Cragness Township. Matt, you have information for us, or, okay, look for a motion to open the public hearing. Motion by Dennis,
Second.
second by Travis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is open. Take it away, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just an update for you on this one. If you recall from last month, really, I think that the hangup was one of the requirements for a variance to proceed is the septic system compliance. Mr. Fuller did work with Environmental Health, and Environmental Health did go and inspect the system and did say that it is compliant. Mr. Fuller just needs to pay his application fees essentially for the inspection and then for the actual septic permit itself, the installation permit. Other than that, they said that everything looks fine.
Okay, so the septic system that was unpermitted does pass.
Correct. Yep. Yes. Fortunately.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yep. They said it was, complied with all of that. So, yep.
Because we had some concerns because we really didn't know anything. Okay?
Yep.
Anybody have any, thank you, Matt. Anybody have any questions for Matt? Mr. Fuller, would you like to speak? You don't need to, it's not required because we heard you last month, but if you do, you need to come up and state your name and make sure the light is green.
There we go. It's on. No, I got the same email that Matt got today. I actually think it was telling me to. I said, "Yep, I'll go pay it right away tomorrow."
Okay, well, I'm really glad that the money you had spent and the time.
Could have went one of two ways. And that's good.
Yeah. So does anybody have any questions for Mr. Fuller? As far as me, what Kent and staff have said, covers the question that we had because we just couldn't prove it.
It was adequate.
Well, you'd still need to go through your findings of fact
Okay.
on that, after the public hearing.
Okay. Anybody have any additional questions for Mr. Fuller?
No question.
Thank you. Hearing none, look for a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion?
Motion by Travis. Seconded by Dennis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Public hearing is closed. Okay, now to find the right. Paperwork. Okay, not there. Here we go. Okay, now we will go through the findings of fact. For Todd Fuller, the minimum lot width at building line. And as always, you know, a single no means no for everything. Is granting the variance in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Clay County Land Development Code?
Yes.
Agree. Is the requested variance consistent with the Clay County Comprehensive Land Use Plan?
Yes.
Does the applicant establish that there are practical difficulties in complying with the strict letter of the Clay County Land Development Code by demonstrating the applicant proposes to use the property in a reasonable manner, not permitted by an official control?
Yes.
Exceptional or extraordinary circumstances apply to the property that do not apply generally to other properties in the same district or vicinity, which result from lot size, shape, topography, or other circumstances over which the landowner has no control or influence.
Yes.
Granting the variance will not alter the essential character of the property's locality.
Yes.
Practical difficulties as used in connection with the grant of a variance mean the property owner proposes to use the property in a reasonable manner, not permitted by an official control. The plight of landowner is due to circumstances unique to the property, not created by the landowner, and the variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the locality. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. Variances shall be granted for earth-sheltered construction as defined in section 216C.06 subdivision 14 when in harmony with local controls.
Yes.
Would the literal interpretation of the provisions of the Clay County Land Development Code deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district under the terms of this ordinance?
Yes.
Yes. Is the variance being granted the minimum variance that would alleviate the practical difficulty?
Yes.
Does the variance request meet all below criteria? No variance shall be granted where any of the following conditions are not met. Adequate sewage systems or water supply capabilities can be provided.
Yes.
the plight of the landowner or the hardship is not due to circumstances created by the landowner.
Yes.
The variance would not allow a use that is not already allowed in that zoning district.
Yes.
There would not be significant adverse effect on public health or safety.
Yes.
Okay, after the fact variances. Because that's why we're here discussing this month instead of taking care of it last month, because stuff happened without permits. The Board of Adjustment may use the following standards with consideration to after the fact variances. Whether construction was completed.
Yes.
Whether there are similar structures in the area.
Yes.
Whether the violation was intentional or unintentional.
I think it was unintentional, but you say the yes?
Yeah, I mean, he did, there was a licensed, yes. The benefit to the county of enforcement compared to the burden on the applicant if the compliance were required. He did have the inspection, and it does. I think this is
Yes.
also a yes, okay. Conditions. Conditions may be imposed in the granting of a variance. A condition must be directly related to and must bear rough proportionality to the impact created by the variance. No expansion, enlargement, or change in use of the structure may occur unless all the required permits and approvals are obtained.
Because this is bordering up water.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, it's the first attachment. I have it up on the screen too.
Okay. Is there a conforming sewage treatment system present for the intended use of the property? The variance, as issued, must require reconstruction of a non-conforming sewage system. And he did have it
I think we-
inspected.
Say yes, but then we go back to the conditions.
Okay. No expansion, enlargement, or change in the use of a structure may occur unless all permits and approvals are obtained. These are recommendations from staff. The applicant must obtain all required after-the-fact zoning, building, septic, shoreland, and floodplain permits for the structure, septic systems, and site improvements as applicable. Approval of this variance, if granted, is limited to the lot width reduction. And
You want to put the reduction on the conditions?
Certainly could.
From 250 to
230
30, because it was
or two
just
229.
many feet.
That was,
And the applicant is aware that, there's some hoops you need to jump through yet, fees you need to pay to get what you've got done compliant, and before you do anything else, just make sure you jump through the hoops. Anybody else have any comments or additions to the,
As long as we have the
variances?
conditions set forth.
okay, motion by Travis to, with the, correction or with the addition, with stating with the reduction in, from 200, reduction in width. Do I have a second to this motion? Motion by, and a seconded by Dennis. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried, variance is granted. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Mr. Fuller, for having Kent out there and or staff and doing what needed to be done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our, oh, that's planning commission. Our next public hearing is Jeremy Clark, request for a variance. The applicant is seeking approval of a variance to the ordinary high water level setback for an existing septic system at 2218 130th Avenue North, Moorhead, 56580. Parcel ID 18.010.3600 in the west half of the southwest quarter, section 10. Township 141 North, range 48W, Cragness Township. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Make a motion.
Motion by Leo, seconded by Travis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is open. Take it away, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is a variance request to reduce the setback to the ordinary high water level for a septic system. Property is located along the Buffalo River. It's just north of town. Zoning, little tricky on this. It's agricultural general shoreland, rivers and streams. There's also floodway on the property, but not in the area where this system could potentially go. So it's a single-family dwelling. It has an existing system already, private well and outbuilding. And so essentially the request is to allow a replacement of a sewage treatment system and an expansion from that 150-foot setback. The applicant is going to proposes to modify and expand the system, replacing the tank, and then there's 4 laterals in the drain field. So adding and there's a need to add an additional 200 feet to that drain field. And so this would be expanded by adding 4 50-foot lines that would go to the west. So this would reduce that current setback from 175 feet to 125 feet. And so the purpose is to replace a failing system and then also to expand it to account for the 2 additional bedrooms as well. And to avoid the existing ring levee and I guess a potential new dike as well. So this is essentially kind of what the system would be designed to look like with the new lines coming off and extending in this direction from the house. And then you can kind of see the dike here as well. The practical difficulty provided by the applicant was that there's no additional room between the home and the dike for the additional 200 feet of drain field that is needed. We did not receive any public or township comments, and then just that environmental health has indicated support for a replacement approach just based on the site constraints. So looking at our setbacks, really no variance requested for the tank. It's really just for the drain field itself. And just looking at the well, didn't measure that. And it's well over 120 feet from the well as well. Any questions for me at all? Bring this up to on our.
Yeah, I guess that would be a kind of an unintended consequence to protect yourself from overland flooding, and now you're constrained.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, it's be kind of constrained, well, yeah, constrained from going alongside to the south because of that dike. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so you can see much of this red is all regulatory floodway. And then here with the ring levee in place, this house is actually outside of the floodplain completely.
Okay, yeah. Anybody else have any questions or comments directed at Matt?
Nope.
Thank you. Would the applicant care to come up and speak to your project?
I'm just the contractor. I'm Jeremy Clark. The tank is failing. It's deteriorated, so it needs to be replaced. In what we're doing, we made measurements. The measurements I had from the county's original as-built said 250 feet. It was not. It was actually just 175. So the tank is deteriorated to the point where it's considered under the MPCA as a imminent public health threat. So we need to replace that per that. But when the homeowner sold it, he sold it as more bedrooms than what it was originally installed for, and that's where I need to add 2 extra bedrooms to make it compliant.
I was trying to figure out where in town, you can miss this, but in the country, you can't.
Yeah, and the realtors are, if you've got a room that they think they can sell for more bedrooms, they will, and we have Kent and Olivia and all of us as contractors have tried to explain it to them, but the extra money they get for selling a 5-bedroom versus a 3-bedroom is enough that they will sell a 5-bedroom every time, and then we get to deal with this. So I cannot explain it to realtors any more than what I've tried. So, but that, yeah, the original owner said they may at some point move that dike back into the yard another 25 feet. So that's where I spoke with Matt about, he thought 100 feet, where there were some flags, and I said those flags are potentially if they wanted to move the dike ever in the future. So I just need 125 feet so that I can stay out of where they're gonna move the dike if they ever were to move the dike away from the river anymore. So they didn't give me a lot of room to work with. So when it was just a tank replacement, it was fine, but when they come up later with extra bedrooms and things not being up to code, then it's a little more difficult, so. But yeah, I just, between my setback from the structure and the dike that's in there, I don't have room for another 200 feet without making it 4 50-foot lines going the other way, just to be practical, so.
Leo, did you have?
So you're just replacing the tank and not doing, you're doing addition to the drain field?
We're gonna add 200 lineal feet of drain field,
Imagine the goal is basically
just to,
not replace the whole system.
right, the other rest of the system has not failed and is not, we're not running into any issues as far as it being a,
Replace the whole system, you'd be looking at a mound.
Soils wise, I don't think so, because it was still compliant with soils, so we would, you might have to put a pressurized at-grade in there. I don't know. I don't think they'll let us put it outside of the dike, so I don't know that I would have room, where else I would have room on that property to build a complete second system, unless it were over the top of that existing system, which is still allowable, but for us, for code-wise, but it's not ideal.
I got no more questions.
Thank you.
We appreciate what you do for work.
Well, we're trying, but they're not making it any easier with things. And if education, we definitely appreciate you adding Olivia to the office there to help Kent, because Kent was running very ragged, I believe, with
The phone that, yeah. He never answered my phone calls.
Kent.
He never got back to me ever.
Well,
I know he was run ragged, so.
I would get emails and stuff back from him at like
Yeah,
midnight,
great guy, though.
1 in the morning, and I'm like, Kent. So, but no, the employees you have are excellent. They do make adjustments for us, and obviously we're very constrained on time and weather, and we can only do what we do when it's not raining or wet, and so we have
Can't
a
believe you're
very
not in a
short,
truck driving.
right, we have a very short period of time in which we can do stuff, so it's compliant and so it works in the future. So we definitely appreciate those guys doing what they do, so.
So what we're doing here, or what you're proposing is, in a nutshell, you're replacing a non-compliant holding tank, and you're adding
Septic tank,
four, or septic tank.
Yep.
And then 4 50-foot laterals
Yep,
onto an existing,
yep, just going the other way from, on that drawing that I've got there, yep.
okay?
Make it match what the house has for bedrooms.
Yep, and if square footage wise, that's one of the smallest 5-bedroom houses I've probably seen, but if it's got an egress window or a closet,
It's a bedroom.
they'll sell it as a bedroom, so. The 22-year-old single gentleman that lives, their neighbor kid that lives
You
there.
got a
is
lot of
not-
dry land, just a little bit this way and a little bit this way.
Yeah, but again, all that stuff's had equipment on it and disturbed and not ideal for septic, but, so, everybody seems to destroy the lot before we get to make it workable, so.
Anybody, any other questions or comments? Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Having no other questions or comments for, Matt have a comment?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I was just gonna point out, this is where the well is located. It's to the north, so. Septic down here, well's way up here.
Okay,
Yep.
good distance.
Yep.
Thank you. Hearing no further comments, look for a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion?
Motion by Leo. Seconded by Dennis. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is closed. And we'll go through the findings of fact. Is granting the variance in harmony with the general purposes and intent of the Clay County Land Development Code?
Yes.
Yes.
Is the requested variance consistent with the Clay County Comprehensive Land Development Code?
Yes.
Yes.
Keeps family compliant and in the area. Does the applicant establish that there are practical difficulties in complying with the strict letter of the Clay County Land Development Code by demonstrating that the applicant proposes to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by an official control?
Yes.
Yes.
Exceptional or extraordinary circumstances apply to this property that do not apply generally to other properties in the same district or vicinity, and which result from lot size, shape, topography, or other circumstances over which the landowner has no control. In this case, that would be, the dike is the new thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Granting the variance will not alter the essential character of the property's locality.
Yes.
Yes.
Practical difficulties, as used in connection with the granting of a variance, mean the property owner proposes to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by an official control. The plight of the landowner is due to circumstances unique to the property, not created by the landowner, and the variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the locality. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. And as always, variances shall be granted for earth-sheltered construction as defined in section 216C.06 subdivision 14, when in harmony with official controls.
Yes.
Would the literal interpretation of the provisions of the Clay County Land Development Code deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same district under the terms of this ordinance?
Yes.
Is the variance being granted the minimum variance that would alleviate the practical difficulty?
Yes.
Does the variance request meet all below criteria? No variance shall be granted where any of the following conditions are not met. Adequate sewage treatment systems or water supply capabilities can be provided.
Yes.
The plight of the landowner or the hardship is not due to circumstances created by the landowner.
Yes.
The variance would not allow a use that is not already allowed in the zoning district.
Yes.
Yes.
There will not be or would not be significant adverse effect on public health or safety.
Yes.
Yes.
Wholeheartedly agree on that because, you know, he had said that MPCA or EPA had, you know, the tank is just not, it's not gonna work. Okay, conditions.
There's another one on the back page.
You got the shoreland one up there too.
The shoreland criteria is met because the variance will require reconstruction upgrade of the SSTS through a permitted 5-bedroom design approved by Clay County Environmental Health with the closest component limited to the specific field verified setback approved by the board.
That would be that 125 feet, yeah.
Is there a conforming sewage system present for the intended use of the property? The variance as issued must require reconstruction of a non-conforming sewage treatment plan.
Tricky. But see the page before, I'm gonna say yes.
Yep,
Yes.
totally agree because of the.
There's a lot of conditions.
Okay, now we're gonna go with, staff has 11 conditions. Conditions may be imposed in the granting of a variance. A condition must be directly related to and must bear rough proportionality to the impact created by the variance. Before construction, the applicant must obtain all required Clay County environmental health permits and approvals for an SSTS designed for the dwelling configuration and bedroom count accepted by environmental health. Should I go through all 11?
I don't, we can just read, I mean, we can just leave, the only one I wanted to note was, these are very similar to the previous month when we did that, Carson septic essentially is the same. I just wanted to note that I had 100 feet on here for 3, but I think we could say 125. Would the board be okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. And these are, I believe, essentially all conditions that would just be met through,
They're like standard
Normal.
requirements.
yep.
And, you know, for me, condition 10, this is the time and the, you know, time of the year to do this because it gives him, especially in the weather pattern we're in now, he can get all this done and get everything replanted.
And the water will hit it, and it will make green grass.
So. Okay, does anybody have any further corrections or comments on the 11 conditions?
Nope.
Okay, look for a motion to approve or deny.
I'll make a motion to
variance.
approve.
Okay, a motion by Leo to approve the variance using
Second.
all 11.
Second?
Second by Travis. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion is carried. Variance is granted. Thank you for coming in and being upfront with the unique, I mean, this is this is a first for me with the constraints with the dike. So.
There's a lot of houses back in those areas. I mean, there's,
A lot of them were ones that were replaced that were older homes that may have ran to the river originally and were updated 20, 30, 40 years ago. And now the tanks are starting to deteriorate, the concrete is starting to,
say this concrete tank.
yeah. The hydrogen sulfide gas seems to be eating them and they're getting in tough shape. So at some point, I know I got another one in Saban that Olivia looked at and thinks is too close, so.
Okay, well, thank you, and we'll be seeing you again. Our next potential public hearing for the evening withdrew their request?
Yes, Mr. Chair, they need to resolve an issue with their request. So hopefully we'll maybe see that before the end of the year.
Okay. Any other unfinished business?
No, Mr. Chair.
How about new business?
The new business that I have is the IRS did issue a mid-year increase to the mileage rate. So, it's effective July 1st, so this meeting, going up from 72.5 cents to 76 cents. So we're up 3.5 cents a mile. So all of your pocketbooks just got a lot heavier. Depending on how far you drive to get here.
Leo, he gets the big one.
Diesel's up 70 cents though.
Yeah.
I guess that's per gallon versus per mile.
Even my dyed fuel in Holly went up a dime today.
I got lucky when they started suggesting the ceasefire was over. I called Cenex and filled all my 2,000 gallons of diesel. I was right. Next morning, it started hopping up.
Yeah, I'm waiting for sub 4 before I fill my stuff, so. Okay, thank you for that announcement, Matt. Does anybody have anything else they wish to go over, discuss? Okay, hearing none, look for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion?
Motion by Leo. Seconded by Dennis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Board of Adjustment hearing is closed. Potentially meet again.
August 18th, I believe.
Do you have applicants?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Has any additions or corrections would approve the agenda for this evening?
So moved.
Motion by Sebastian,
Second.
seconded by Kurt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried, agenda is approved. Next item is approval of minutes from our June meeting. Motion by Laura to approve the minutes,
I'll second.
seconded by Josh. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried, minutes are approved. Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak to something that is not on the agenda? Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak to something that is not on the agenda? Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak to something that is not on the agenda? Hearing none, we will move on to public hearings. Our first public hearing of this evening is for Red River Communications, request for a conditional use permit. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit for a telecommunications hut on parcel ID 01.029.2201 in part of the northwest quarter of the northwest quarter, section 29, township 137 north, range 47W, Alliance Township. Look for a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Ashley,
Second.
seconded by Brad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is open. Take it away, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, this is a request for a conditional use permit for fiber telecommunication structure. The applicant is looking to seeking this permit to place and operate a prefab telecommunications shelter on a 50 by 50 foot gravel pad just south of, east of Comstock. They received a federal Reconnect grant to extend fiber service to homes in rural Clay County and that part of the county, and this would be kind of as a support structure for that. It would be considered a essential service per our code, and then any structures for essential services do require this conditional use permit. So again, this is just on the southwest extent of the intersection with CASA 11 and CASA 2. Just going to note that CASA 11 is going to come up a lot tonight, so you might hear it in a few of these hearings. Pretty simple access, or a pretty simple site layout, pretty simple site improvements, 50 by 50 pad, prefab building, looking at access off of 70th Street South. It's essentially kind of what the building or structure might look like. This isn't the exact one, but pretty close. And again, just as I mentioned, as an essential service, conditional use permits required. It's looking like this could meet all of the standards for that. The only one that's maybe in question is they have it looking like it's 88 feet off the center of CASA 2, and our minimum setback would be 125 feet for that. I think there's plenty of space, though, to where that could potentially be modified. We did not receive any comments on this request. This is just kind of looking at the site right here, where it's going to go. Yeah, any questions for me at all on this?
Is the applicant aware that we're probably gonna ask for some more feet from the county road?
No, not yet, but potentially now, so, yes. It gets a little tricky with essential services, because if they absolutely need to put it there, they can. So if there's an actual definite need for them to do that,
The board adjustments to,
they can, yep.
okay. Anyone else have any questions or comments for Matt? Hearing none, would the applicant care to come up and state your name for the record and speak your piece to the podium up here? And if the microphone is green, you're golden.
Yep, I'm David Risted. I'm here representing Red River Communications. I would say the only thing in that sketch is I think we are set back quite a ways further than that 88 feet that, I don't know why I don't know if that was a typo or what we have going on there, but we set it back as 150 feet off the road at both directions.
Okay.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, maybe I'm confusing this dash for a 1 here potentially, but yeah,
I believe so.
yeah.
okay, well, that clears that up. Care to explain your project, what's your,
Yes, we received, I worked for a communications company. Back in the day, it was telephone. Now it's kind of migrated to broadband internet services. We applied quite a few times to expand our territory, to start covering this area of rural Comstock, rural Sabin. We're just down in Abercrombie, so it's a 15-minute drive from us. It represented a great opportunity for us to grow our footprint. We've been here and we've kept in touch with the commissioners and kept them apprised of what we've been trying to accomplish here. And last winter, we were awarded this grant to build out fiber to the home to we're pushing about 230 rural customers, rural Comstock, rural Sabin, that we're in the middle of getting fiber to the home to. So that's what our project kind of entails. Took us a little while longer than we wanted to find a parcel of land to be able to put our hut on, our central office. So that's kind of why we're late here compared to what our timeline is for our build out, so to speak. But unless you guys have any other questions of me.
I do not, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against this conditional use permit? Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak, or online, that wishes to speak for or against? Hearing none, look for a motion to adjourn, close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Kurt,
Second.
seconded by Sebastian. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Public hearing is closed. We will now go through the findings of fact. The conditional use will not be injurious to the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the residents of Clay County.
I would agree with that approval finding.
Yeah, will improve. The conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purpose already permitted.
I'd approve that.
The establishment of the conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for uses predominant in the area.
I'd approve the orderly development, as long as it stays within the footprint designated, it should be all right.
Thank you. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide utilities, access roads, drainage, off-street parking, and loading spaces as required by this ordinance.
I'd agree with the approval on that.
Adequate measures have been or will be taken to prevent or control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, water pollution, and soil erosion, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance, and to control lighted signs or other lights in such a manner that no disturbance to the neighboring properties will result.
I approve everything that mentioned there will be taken care of.
The conditional use will not create an excessive burden on current or anticipated public infrastructure or services that serve or are proposed to serve the area, including to but not limited to parks, schools, public safety services, roads, water supply, sanitary sewers, and storm sewers, unless the county and the applicant establish a development agreement that determines how such impacts will be resolved.
I would agree with the approval findings.
The conditional use is allowed by this ordinance and conforms with any specific use standards established in Chapter 8, which is use regulations, as may be applicable.
I'd agree with the approval findings as well.
The conditional use is consistent with the goals and objectives of the Clay County Comprehensive and Transportation Plan and any comprehensive plan of a township or city as may be applicable.
I approve with the, agree with the approval findings on that.
Okay. Staff has 12 conditions listed.
Would you like me to read those, Mr. Chair? Would you like me to read those, Mr. Chair?
Certainly.
Okay. So, 1, applicant must abide by the provisions of the Clay County Land Development Code and Subdivision Ordinance. 2, before installation, the applicant must submit a final dimensional site plan acceptable to the planning department showing the parcel boundaries, road centerline setbacks, building and gravel pad driveway, any parking, staging areas, utilities, drainage features, setbacks, and then that the shelter must be 50 feet away from every lot line, 125 feet from road center lines. The building, 3, the building and gravel pad must be located substantially in the northwest portion of the parcel, facility, driveway, utilities, easements must not segment working for farmland or interfere with field access, farm equipment, drainage, or crop spraying operations. 4, the applicant must obtain approval from the highway department for any new or modified driveway, culvert, or work within the public right-of-way. Service vehicles, delivery vehicles, and construction staging must be accommodated on site and may not obstruct a public road or road ditch. 5, the shelter may not exceed, without prior planning department review, its exterior must use muted earth tone colors, low profile design substantially consistent with the representative photographs submitted with the application. 6, the building doors, electrical cabinets, batteries, other equipment must be secured against unauthorized public access. Durable site identification, 24-hour emergency contact sign must be posted at the entrance or building. The installation must comply with applicable electrical, fire, building, utilities, safety requirements. 7, existing vegetation must be retained where practicable if the planning commission. I would say we could probably modify this one because I don't think screening would be needed unless you feel that.
I would get rid of it.
Okay. Let's change it to that. 8, outdoor lighting be prohibited except for required for code, safety, or essential service. Any approved exterior light must be fully shielded, directed downward, limited to the lowest practical intensity, controlled by motion sensor, short duration switch. No outdoor storage, refuse accumulation, public customer activity would be permitted. The building, gravel pad, driveway, drainage features, utility equipment, exterior finish, vegetation, security features must be maintained in a safe, clean, weed-controlled, and orderly condition. Installation maintenance must control dust, mud, track out noise, erosion. Disturbed soil must be stabilized. Roadside ditches and natural drainage must remain unobstructed, and sediment or debris deposited on the public roads must be removed promptly. 11, any standby generator, battery system, equipment, or other mechanical equipment not described in the application must be submitted to planning department for installation. Such equipment must comply with applicable safety requirements and may not create objectionable noise, vibration, fumes, glare, or other nuisance at a neighboring property. And then 12, the applicant must obtain and comply with all applicable federal, state, county, township, road authority, utility, electrical, fire, and building approvals. I should say that the Land Development Code does exempt them from having to get a development permit, so a building permit for this, but there might be other code requirements they would have to meet.
Thank you, Matt. Does anybody have any additions, corrections, modifications to the 12, other than what Ezra stated?
Mr. Chair, I'll approve conditions 1 through 12.
Okay. Does the applicant acknowledge or, do you, are you able to follow the 12 conditions and understand what each of the conditions are? Thank you. We have a motion by Brad to approve the conditional use permit as printed with the 12 conditions.
To clarify that, that would be getting rid of condition number 7.
Oh, we could in its entirety?
Well, I thought we were just,
That would make it 11 conditions.
okay, so we're gonna eliminate, we're not, okay. So 11 conditions.
So was your motion for
Yeah,
Is that Brad's motion?
I'll motion to approve conditions 1 through 11.
I'll second.
Motion by, seconded by Ashley. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Conditional use permit is granted. Thank you. Our next public hearing is Westland Excavating. Request for an interim use permit. The applicant is requesting an interim use permit for a 39.5 acre gravel mine on parcel ID 17.015.1000 in part of the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter and the southwest quarter of the northeast quarter. Section 15, Township 141N, Range 45W, Keene Township. Look for a motion to open the public hearing. Motion by Laura to open,
Second.
seconded by Sebastian. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Public hearing is open. Take it away, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yep, this is a request for an interim use permit for an extractive use. This is located just north of an interim use permit that you just recently granted this year to Westland as well. And so they're looking for a 39.5 gravel pit to do on-site crushing, screening, excavation. There'd be some in above and in groundwater, stockpiling, truck hauling, and progressive reclamation. The goal or the purpose is to produce rock, sand, and Class 5 aggregate. The applicant's estimating that about 2 million cubic yards of material would be removed. Mining would happen generally from the east to the west, and then truck traffic would also travel through an existing site that I had just recently mentioned on an existing haul route to County State Aid Highway 27. So this property is zoned agricultural general, and it is in the resource protection aggregate protection district. The mining area this is the entire parcel. The mining area would be this quarter section down on the south, and its majority of the site is prime farmland. The southern portion is farmland of statewide importance, and then not prime farmland. So big range of crop equivalency rating from 24 to 73 in this location. As far as wetlands, there aren't any mapped wetlands in the project area. There are to the east and then to the southeast as well. As far as depth to groundwater, looking at the two closest wells, be ranging from 12 to 18 feet, And my understanding is that the applicant has also done some boring out there as well, and kind of that roughly matches up with what they've seen as well in terms of groundwater levels below the surface. So the haul route would be from this project area. So here's the existing mining area. This has been a mine since at least 2019. It's getting close to the end of its life here. And so the applicant does plan on moving further north. The haul road kind of follows from this pit, it goes north and then west. So they would go right out from where it turns and heads west to CASA 27. And so this road is on a private property. They do have an agreement with that property owner for the haul road and access. So what they're proposing, pretty typical mining operations in terms of what's going to be extracted and processed. The equipment to be used, they're requesting year-round Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Talked about the haul road, using dust control, stormwater, all water would be retained on site. They're not planning on dewatering at all or discharging any water off site. They would do progressive reclamation. They'd create a pond and return the remaining land to farmland. And so looking at about $1,000 per acre estimated for reclamation. And so this is looking at the haul road. Looking south. And thanks for the pictures, Erica. Every time Erica goes out, she always meets a road grader. So you can see there's one in this picture here. This is looking south at the property. Right now, it looks like it's planted into corn and winter wheat. This would be looking northeast at the property. And then this is the north property line of the pit with the Rodewalds. The Rodewald side does have a variance to mine to the property line. With our code changes now, if the applicant wished to mine within the 100-foot property line setbacks, they would need separate agreements with each adjoining property owner, and that would have to be basically recorded against both of those properties that they're waiving that setback requirement. And then just another picture of the site, and then this would be the haul road looking east from 27 into the pit. We did not receive any comments on this request. I will say though that I did talk with our county engineer, and he did state that, you know, we've had a history of some issues with CASA 27 and just how it's been maintained and just the amount of use that it's had. And our county engineer did say that Westland has been very responsive to any issues that have come up on CASA 27, and just wishes to keep working with them in that capacity to address any issues as they arise. Any questions for me at all?
Okay, I have none, and apparently nobody else does either. Would the applicant care to come up and state your name and speak your piece?
I'm Jeff Busby with Westland Excavating. Guess we're just looking to expand into Brazos because we're out of Class 5 material up in the northern part, and all of our stuff's in Rolog, and we'd like to get some more up to the north part to get to town. One thing I might add is I did talk to Brady Brosseth, and he might want to eventually add a road going out to the north out of his property. But for right now, we will just go out of the Rodewald Road. We got an agreement, and I guess we chlorided the whole 4 miles of 27 this spring, so for dust control.
Are you the only pit currently using the road through Rotowald's then?
No, there's another operator across the road that's also using 27.
Oh, Mr. Chair, did you mean just the Rotowald?
Yeah, the,
Oh, yeah, we're the only ones using that road, yes.
Yep. Across the road would be, well, Knife River, formerly Strata, has their Haver Camp pit.
okay, yep, that. Thank you, Jeff. Anybody else have any questions or comments for Jeff?
I just have one comment, Mr. Chair. This is right out the back door of my place. I live within 3 miles of this location, own property within a half mile of it. And Westland Excavating has done a wonderful job on CASA 27 since they've taken over that Rodenwald pit this spring. And yeah, they chloride the whole thing, and they've been very good neighbors in the area, so that's just a comment.
Thank you. It's nice to hear from somebody who lives in the township. Anyone else? Okay, is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against? Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against? Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against this project? Hearing none, look for a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Ashley,
Second.
seconded by Josh. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public hearing is closed. Okay, we will now go through the findings of fact. The interim use will not be injurious to the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the residents of Clay County.
I would agree with that. Sounds like they're doing a pretty good job, so.
Thank you. The interim use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purpose already permitted.
I'll agree with the approval findings as it's an established haul route already, and they've taken care of things properly.
The establishment of the interim use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for uses predominant in the area.
I'd agree with those approval findings.
Thank you. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide utilities, access roads, drainage, off-street parking, and loading spaces as required by this ordinance.
I would agree with the approval finding.
Adequate measures have been or will be taken to prevent or control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, water pollution, and soil erosion, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance, and to control lighted signs or other lights in such a manner that no disturbance to the neighboring properties will result.
I agree with that approval finding.
The interim use will not create an excessive burden on current or anticipated public infrastructure or services that serve or are proposed to serve the area, including but not limited to parks, schools, public safety services, roads, water supply, sanitary sewers, storm sewers, unless the county and the applicant establish a development agreement that determines how such impacts will be resolved.
I would agree with the approval findings.
The interim use is allowed by this ordinance and conforms with any specific use standards established in Chapter 8, use regulations as may be applicable.
I'd agree with those approval findings.
Thank you. The interim use is consistent with the goals and objectives of the Clay County Comprehensive and Transportation Plan and any comprehensive plan of a township or city as may be applicable.
I agree with those approval findings, just continuation of what they're already doing.
Thank you. Staff has compiled 12 possible.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, I'll just say that, these 12 conditions are literal copy-paste from the permit directly to the south, because it was just approved recently by you, and it's right next to that pit, so they're the exact same.
Just for clarification, for me, the property owner could, they currently need to do the 100-foot buffer between the property lines, but that could be waived with some communication and agreements with surrounding landowners.
Yeah, so, they could certainly, if they wanted to go, they're a bit constrained to the east, just with the shoreland. I mean, up here, well, actually, they wouldn't be too constrained. But they could, if they made say, for example, wanted to mine within this 100-foot setback, they would need to have a notarized agreement with this property owner that they would record against both properties. And then the same would be for, say, the western property line as well. Yep. And then as far as any future access to the north, I believe this is a township road, so they would just need to get Keene Township approval, I think, on that. Or is this the county? Sorry. Okay, they need county approval then for that.
Okay?
Yeah, that is.
So the hours are, we don't really, we kind of have a standard boilerplate, hours of operation and days.
Is that the same as the permit south of that, Matt?
Yes.
Okay, I like this project. They're not gonna dig into the, I mean, they're gonna stay above the water table. Local company. If nobody has any additions or corrections, I'd look for motion to approve or deny the IUP with the 12 conditions.
Move for approval.
Motion by Sebastian to approve,
Second.
seconded by Kurt. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion is carried. Interim use permit is granted. Thank you, everyone. Okay, our next public hearing is Gerald Zimmerman, request for an interim use permit. The applicant is requesting an interim use permit for an agricultural worker housing on parcel ID 23.011.4800, 23.011.4801, and 23.011.4600 in the southeast quarter of section 11, township 140N, range 48W, Oakport Township. Look for a motion to open the public hearing. Motion by Laura to open,
Second.
seconded by Kurt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Public hearing is open. Take it away, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, this is a request for an interim use for ag worker housing. Properties located north of Dilworth in Oakport Township. 3 parcels. It's currently agricultural and residential. Zoning's pretty basic on this property, agricultural general. What the applicant is looking for is seasonal ag worker housing using one existing dwelling, which would be down here, and then a new shop that has 2 bathrooms and would have 5 bedrooms essentially. Would be storage offices most of the year, but there's a need for, when they have temporary ag workers coming in around harvest time, just a place for them to stay. I won't go through all the standards, but we do have some standards for ag housing. I know that Clay County, like many counties and places in the United States, has a long history of ag housing. It was in our code for a while, it came out, and now it's back in. And I think one of the reasons why we have these standards in place now is essentially it's an agricultural protection thing to protect farmers and landowners who employ temporary labor throughout the year, just because we have other issues with temporary housing with related to large construction projects in the area or things of that manner, or places where you have folks who are operating or allowing for temporary workers to stay on their property and in areas where there might be more potential land use conflicts with neighbors or things like that. And so this is to distinguish that, yep, this is an allowed use, and it's protected under the ordinance, essentially, is why we brought it back into our code. So this property history of the house has been used for temporary ag worker housing according to the applicant for 20+ years. Should note that it did fail in a septic inspection in 2008. That still needs to be addressed. There was a variance granted last year by the Board of Adjustment for a shop to an internal property line setback, roughly like right in here. The shop has been substantially completed without any building or septic permits. Just looking at the farmland here, this really isn't going to take this won't take any prime farmland out of production because it's an existing farmyard. So the proposal does appear to meet all the standards for this use once it is permitted, but building and septic permits would need to be obtained. The house septic would need to be addressed. And the applicant and landowner does want to combine all 3 of those parcels into one, and that would address any property line encroachment issues. Should note that all the parcels are owned by the same entity. There have been other issues historical issues in the county where you might have encroachment of a building, and then a parcel is sold to a non-family member or an outside entity, and then problems exist. So that's kind of the reason for wanting to take care of any of those property line issues. Just looking at the house here, and then here's the shop, kind of where it's at. Any questions for me at all?
So the septic is non-compliant.
We don't know. We would have to get, we'd have to work with the landowner, and applicant would have to work with environmental health on that.
And building permits have not been issued for the construction going on at the shop currently?
Correct.
Do they have a building permit for the original shop there that they have the living quarters in?
Oh, that's that's a house, it's an existing house, and it's pretty old, so, yeah, so. May predate our ordinance.
Any?
I was working with the applicant's son on the variance request, also on the text amendment to, that you heard, I think, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, for the temporary agricultural worker housing. And I think one of the biggest issues was just making sure that they at a setback off the road far enough. And really, that's kind of the only setback of concern once this property line goes away. As far as where this parcel is situated relative to other parcels, I think there shouldn't really be any issues. They certainly have enough space for parking and things like that. But environmental health would need to know essentially where the septic is, if it's even gone in yet. So it may not be in, for the shop.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I have no further questions for Matt, and would the applicant care to come up to the mic, state your name for the record, please, and speak your piece.
Jerry Zimmerman. We have had workers, truck drivers during beet harvest, and that's the only time this facility is being used for housing anyone, and it generally starts whenever harvest starts in the fall, and most of the time ends whenever harvest ends, October, November, whatever. In the past, it's been like one person in any 12 hours. We've had drivers come as far as Bismarck and Fergus Falls, and we don't like them to be driving, more than 12 hours at a time, so we've allowed them to stay overnight there. As far as the septic tank system, it does work. It's not up to code, but the septic tank that's going to be in the new part of the shop will be available to anyone that's staying in there. There's one bedroom. The other part of the house is storage, and I have an electronics shop in there. And it's a 1.5-story building, and it's impossible to get heat upstairs, and it's impossible to get cold air up there, so there is no bedrooms in the upper story. Any questions?
So Matt had talked that you are open to or exploring putting all the parcels as one?
Yep, I want all the parcels to be one. That takes away all the setback rules and stuff.
You're actively working on that, or?
Yeah, that was proposed to Matt. He said he could work with that, so.
Have you reached out to environmental services or the health and?
No.
Okay.
I have one question.
There?
Have you put a septic into the new shop yet, or no?
Yes, there is a septic tank installed. Clark put it in.
And that wasn't certified by public health?
Yes.
It was or wasn't?
Yes, they were out there and there was a person from the county.
So that one was inspected before it was covered up?
Yep,
You have paperwork on that?
not with me.
I can get
You
it.
can get it? All right. So the shop has a new septic in it?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's within
here.
walking distance of the house. We would just as soon not update the septic tank system for the house because it's too good to tear down, and it's not good enough for really someone to live in continuously, so.
Kent, I was able to hear you, and Kent said yes, they were out there and that the septic is good.
Good. Okay, thank you for your questions, Ezra. Anyone else have any additional questions for the applicant? Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against? Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against? Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against as interim use permit for temporary agricultural worker housing? Hearing none, look for a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Ashley, Seconded by Jeff. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is closed. Thank you, everyone. Now we will ask him the same questions we asked everybody else. The interim use will not be injurious to the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of residents of Clay County. And I'd say pending inspections, of which he does have one. I would agree.
Mr. Chair and Matt, on the septic system in the house, I don't know if it works or not, but it's not up to code. You need one system for that living situation, or can they walk across the yard to the shop?
I'm gonna defer to Kent on that.
Or could they tie the house to the one in the shop, for the one for the shop? Can you tie two into the same septic system?
Basically, you have
if
to
the
have
system is
accessible
large
to the
enough.
living quarters.
Yeah. I don't know, Kent, if you have any comment on that? Yes.
Yes, they could have one system that would serve both, combine into one. But yes, also I don't believe that the system for the house is compliant, so that would need to be addressed one way or another. Whether it's two separates or if a designer proposed a system that could service both.
What about a holding tank onto the house and that they just pump out? Would that be sufficient?
We typically don't allow for holding tanks on dwellings. I think that something like that could be workable with some specific requirements, maybe requiring pumping agreement with a licensed pumper and so forth. I think we could be agreeable to that.
Thanks, Kent.
Answer your question?
I had a couple options there, I guess, yeah.
I think we can deal with that with conditions.
Pardon?
I think we can deal with that with conditions.
Okay, I agree. The interim use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purpose already permitted.
I'll agree with that. Sounds like he's been doing it for quite some time, so.
The establishment of the interim use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for uses predominant in the area.
I agree with that finding.
Adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide utilities, access roads, drainage, and off-street parking and loading spaces as required by this ordinance.
I would agree with the approval finding there. I think Matt said that there's plenty of space for parking. We just need plans for the possible approval findings.
Okay. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to prevent or control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, water pollution, and soil erosion, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance, and to control lighted signs or other lights in such a manner that no disturbance to neighboring properties will result. We're gonna go back to the compliance with environmental health to make that happen. The interim use will not create an excessive burden on current or anticipated public infrastructure or services that serve or are proposed to serve the area, including but not limited to parks, schools, public safety services, roads, water supply, sanitary sewers, storm sewers, unless the county and the applicant establish a development agreement that determines how such impacts will be resolved. It's all private, so there's nothing new public being added. The interim use is allowed by this ordinance and conforms with any specific use standards established in Chapter 8, use regulations, as may be applicable. Covered everything in there, I believe. The interim use is consistent with the goals and objectives of the Clay County Comprehensive and Transportation Plan and any comprehensive plan of a township or city as may be applicable.
I'd agree with that finding.
Thank you. Okay, staff has proposed 8 conditions.
Would you like me to read them, Mr. Chair?
Yes, yes, I feel that's the right thing to do.
Okay, 1, temporary ag. I should note too that these conditions a lot of them are taken off each of the standards from the code. So temporary agricultural employee housing is authorized only in the existing farmhouse and the approved living quarters portion of the shop. And the combined occupancy shall not exceed the approved plans or limits in section 882D2, whichever is less. They're well under that right now. I think the max is 16. They're, well under that. Housing is limited to agricultural employees and their family members for no more than 270 calendar days per calendar year. Before occupancy, the owner shall submit the required signed statement and maintain annual occupancy and employment records for the county. It's also from a standard, and it looks like that could be meted with the, just needing that housing during harvest. Before occupancy, the owner shall submit final site floor plans and obtain environmental health approval of the water, sewage, sleeping, eating, sanitation facilities. Parking, access, and all facilities shall be maintained in accordance with approved plans and applicable requirements. Within 30 days of approval and before further construction, use, or occupancy of the shop, the owner shall record a county-approved combination of the parcels discussed. And then also, within 30 days of approval, the owner shall submit a complete after-the-fact county and Oakport Township permit applications for the shop as well. 6, this permit does not legalize prior or unpermitted work, waive fees or corrective requirements, limit enforcement authority, or create vested rights. 7, the permit shall terminate as provided in section 811-8D. If either the housing location is not used for ag employees for more than 2 consecutive years, it shall be removed or converted to a lawful non-residential use within 1 year. Talking with Mr. Zimmerman's son, it sounded like that would be pretty feasible since it's going to be mainly offices and storage for most of the year anyway. Some interim use permits, we have a defined date, year, end date. Can also, an event could trigger that as well. An end to the permit. Typically, it's a change of ownership of a parcel, or in this case, it could be that it's just not used for housing for two consecutive years. 8, the owner shall comply with this permit, approved plans, Clay County and Oakport Township requirements, and all applicable laws. Violations may result in enforcement or permit revocation. I don't know if if you'd like to address any of the septic components, or if you feel that condition 3 covers that.
I feel condition 3 covers that. Okay. With that, the one septic system that's out of compliance.
I mean, you've got, definite, there's walls up there, it's 30 days. People are, is my biggest concern is the house component of the septic, but, may or not be anybody staying in the house with these other apartments done. And if it was me, I'd probably like to stay in something that's newer and warmer than have to walk across the parking lot to use the facilities, so. But he has to address everything with environmental health and the other county agencies.
Mr. Chair and Matt, couple things, kind of 5 and 6. No further construction or occupancy is allowed until all permits. And then number 6, this permit does not legalize prior unpermitted work. Can you explain number 6 a little more clearly?
Essentially stating that it's a reinforcing condition 5, essentially, and condition 4. It's just a reinforcing statement. Went through this with our county attorney's office and thought it was good to have that in there, so.
So if we give them the IUP, they still need to get all their permits.
And pay the fees that they did not, so not having the permit prior, there's a fee to that. We're not waiving that fee.
Big chunk of this is after the fact. And beet harvest is coming up. That take care of your questions?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, hearing no further discussion or potential tweaking of the conditions, look for motion to either deny or approve the IUP with the 8 conditions.
I'd make a motion to approve with the conditions.
Okay, motion by Kurt to approve it with the 8 conditions as printed,
Second.
seconded by Brad. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Interim use permit is issued. Okay, our next public hearing is White Oak Garden LLC, request for a conditional use permit. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit for a 5-megawatt community solar garden on parcel ID 06.019.4000 in part of the southeast quarter, section 19, township 138N, range 47W, Elmwood Township. Look for a motion to open the public hearing. Motion by Laura,
Second.
seconded by Sebastian. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried, public hearing is open. Take it away, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, this is a conditional use permit request for a 5-megawatt community solar garden. This is located about a mile and a half south of Sabin. It's on the west side of CASA 11. It's currently cultivated cropland. The parcel is 156 acres and the project area would be approximately 30 to 31 acres. The zoning on this is agricultural general. Overlay zoning is resource protection, wellhead protection. So the request is to establish that 5-megawatt community solar garden on 31 acres of farmland. To participate in that Excel Low Energy Low and Moderate Income Community Solar Garden Program, providing renewable energy to income eligible households, public interest subscribers, and community organizations. Their expected annual generation is about 9,800 megawatt hours, and looking at an anticipated operational life of 25 to 35 years. I think the 25 years is the agreement that they would have with the landowner. Project could go longer than that. The details, so this would be 11,800 solar panels. They'd be steel-driven posts. They'd be on a single-axis tracker racking, associated electrical equipment, gravel access road, perimeter fencing, and then some limited security signage and lighting, vegetative screening, beneficial pollinator habitat. There's some agrovoltaic potential with maybe sheep or honeybees as well. So this would be enclosed by a farm fence. It'd be gated access with keyless entry and then signage with 24-hour contact information. Again, the use is relatively passive once it's up and running. No excess traffic, noise, vibrations, or dust. And then vegetative screening is proposed as well. Near residences, I'll go back to Yeah, so looking for screening along the east side and then kind of wrapping around as well. Farmland impacts, this would take prime farmland, and prime farmland, if drained, with a crop equivalency rating of 67 to 76 out of production for a minimum of 25 to 35 years. There wouldn't be any soil stripping, there wouldn't be any permanent foundations. The soils would remain intact and vegetated during the operation. The site is expected or could be restored to ag use at decommissioning. And then again, 30 acres, it's small scale relative to our prime farmland acreage county-wide. Solar production tax, it'd be subject to that solar production tax. Annual tax revenue of $11,840, 25-year total $296,000, and then that'd be an 80-20 split between the county and the township. Because this is over 1 megawatt as well, the land underlying the project would have a commercial tax classification as well, so it wouldn't be agricultural. Decommissioning plan, just removal of panels, racking piles, inverters, transformers, wiring, fencing, concrete pads, access roads. Site restoration would include that grading, topsoil replacement, reseeding, looking at about $218,500 for decommissioning costs. That does not include the salvage value from any of the materials. And then there would be a guaranteed financial guarantee as well. Do you want to note that there is a kind of a legacy property line encroachment here with this older building? If the this is the same property owner as the field as well. If they ever decided to move this property line back just to encompass the entire building site, just want to make sure that the setbacks can be complied with, and I'm speaking with the developer, they can certainly work with that and bump it back a little bit. So just in case that if this is ever expanded out, it would still meet that 100-foot property line setback. So this is looking at the property from roughly the southeast corner, looking northwest, and then this is looking more straight on the project, looking west. So there was some correspondence from the highway department on site access connection. We didn't receive any comments from the township, and then just some general comments from nearby residents concerning screening of residential properties. Any questions for me at all?
When it comes to solar gardens, is there like a percentage of acreage we're allowed to have as a county?
I don't think there's a percentage of acreage, but there is a state megawatt cap, and I cannot remember off the top of my head what that is, but every year they allocate so many megawatts that can be allowed for community solar gardens. And so there is that cap on there as well. And I should say we have permitted quite a few in the county. Some of them have not been constructed. We're potentially going to have a revocation hearing on one tonight for one that was actually permitted earlier this year in January, but we don't need to do that actually. So it's already basically not going to be a thing. So, and that was one that was up on Highway 9 that was permitted by you all in January. So yeah, the cap comes at that state level.
And I know this is off subject for this project, but have we heard any more about the other state proposed one that was supposed to be going in?
The larger one?
Very large.
I am planning on giving an update on that at our August meeting.
Okay.
Basically what I know about that.
Okay.
Where are the nearest residents to that other than the last one?
Yeah. So there are across the street, and I want to say maybe I had yeah. This property is a residential property, but the house is no longer there. Yep, no one's living there, yep. So it's mainly across the street and then to the southeast. No. I can turn this,
Have they determined to access off County 11, where that would be?
yes, and let me see if I can pull it up here from. It goes on the north side there. Yeah, to the north here.
Okay.
Okay. Hearing no other questions, would the applicant care to come up and state your name for the record, please? And
Hi, Michael Braun. I'm with Nokomis Energy, 2836 Lindale Avenue, South Minneapolis, Minnesota 55408. Thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. As Matt mentioned, this is a 5 megawatt single access tracker community solar garden proposed on the Lammers parcel. You know, in general, I think Matt did a very good job covering this. Here to answer any questions. We are planning on screening the east side of the facility, and we're happy to wrap that around if that is a concern to, you know, nearby residents. We're happy to work with everyone and address concerns as much as we can. So, you know, if you do want screening wrapped around to the south side of the project a little bit, I would just like to define, you know, kind of the extent of that so we can get that in our engineering drawings and make sure everybody's happy. Other than that, it would be a 25-year project. That's the term with Xcel Energy, with the lease allowing us to possibly extend for 5 to 10 more years. Are there any questions?
when are you anticipating construction?
Yeah, great question. It would be likely late summer of 2027. So we are in the process of going through the interconnection queue and studies with Xcel Energy right now. We've received our system impact study back. We're expecting our facility study back, you know, in the short or in the near future, along with the interconnection agreement to follow shortly after that.
I do have a question here. I know it says that this area is compatible because of the limited groundwater risk and potential water resource benefits. I know when they're contained and there's no damage to them, you shouldn't have any of those risks. Do you guys have in your plan any ways to mitigate those risks if they do happen? I know you have damage. Can you go look for damage? Is there soil testing or water testing done if there's something that happens?
We can do that. We're happy to do that if that would be like a condition you want to add in, if there's a, you know, catastrophic event or, you know, major damage to the facility. We're happy to add soil testing in. Typically, to kind of address, I think, what your concern is toxicity probably from panels. I'm sure people have heard about these things. There are tests out there. It's called the TCLIP. It's toxicity characteristic leaching procedure. So they test these in extreme events where they essentially have to destroy the panel, kind of pulverize it, dump a like chemical mixture, almost like acid rain type, to see like if it would be toxic in the soil. And you know, in an extreme event, there possibly could be, but most of these modules, especially the ones we're using, the monocrystalline, pass those tests. So that would be a very extreme event. And if that were to happen, we have insurance on these projects where it is our, obligation to go up and clean those out and clean it up, restore the facility, because if these aren't generating electricity, they're not really doing any good. So it's in our best interest to get out there right away and restore the site.
Perfect, thank you. I don't know, I think that might be something that this planning commission might want to look at on these solar projects, is if something were to happen, maybe having these stipulations in place, so.
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Hang, that's something I'm happy to do more research on some of the insurance requirements with that. I guess a question I might have is how that applies to adjacent property owners as well. That's something I can happily do some research on and get back to this board.
Perfect.
And see if there's anything we can incorporate into our code.
Thank you. Matt and Ashley. And this is another Excel hookup then?
Correct, yep. The Department of Commerce administers it's now called the Melissa Hortman program, but it is the LMI CSG program. So, yep.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against? Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against? Is there anyone in the audience or online that wishes to speak for or against this conditional use permit? Hearing none, look for a motion to close the public hearing. Brad?
I just have one more question, Mr. Chair. As far as the screening goes, maybe this board would, with talking to the applicant to see, say it's a vegetative type screening, obviously tall trees would probably be a no-no in case of a windstorm, et cetera, damaging the panels, but we would want something to hide this, like large bushes or wood or something, but I think more of a natural look would be a better fit than maybe just, some sort of a solid fence, right? I don't know if we could state specific, like, if there's a height, obviously we don't want them really tall for wind damage, but just to cover the, like a 15 feet to 10-foot buffer or a screen to set that, so in future solar panels, we kind of stay consistent with the type of screening. Maybe we can look into this down the road, but just to help these projects.
Sure. Mr. Chair and Commissioner Elder, we do have, basically it's in our code, it's written as it's kind of up to the Planning Commission's discretion on how you want to define screening. What might work in some places might not work in others, but typically vegetative screening, you could even request for it to be like a double row or triple row of just something more dense, something that could be more fast growing as well. But I think typically vegetative screening is probably preferred just for the reasons that you stated, and likely something that's like a shrub that provides some more lateral coverage rather than like a tree that would take years to, in a 25-year lifespan. If you're planting like a spruce tree or something, or pine trees, it's by the time they're providing any screening, your project is getting pulled out of the ground. So you could certainly put some definite, you could certainly get really specific with the type of screening that you require, but just being cautious about that every circumstance could be a little bit different. I know that even leaving up a few rows of corn too, just in the interim, while a screening is established, could be an option as well. So,
I really, especially on the east side, there needs to be something. So,
Just one comment off that, Chair. I think I'd leave it to the applicant on what type of trees or height of trees they want to plant out there. I agree with living screening, but I'd let the applicant decide if they want to put in poplar there that grow quickly, that's on them if they tip over, right? I mean, I'd let them decide what type of vegetation they plant. I don't think we should go in the weeds of, we're not arborists on defining what type of specific vegetation they should plant. I believe in screening, but I don't believe we should be the ones deciding what that they should be planting or not planting.
Okay.
Mr. Chair and Matt, kind of go along with both Brad and Ezra's comments. Every situation might have a different purpose to have the screening. I'm just asking, for this case, is screening more to hide it or to keep critters out?
It would be for aesthetics, yep.
I would say leave it up to I understand your sentiment here, but they would know best what works, how they'd like to take care of it, and I guess we could have some guidance, but I don't know if it's quite necessary.
Okay. Kind of forgot where we were at.
You have not closed a public hearing.
Okay. And, okay, so the discussion is that we're going to definitely require some sort of screening. We're just not going to mandate what that vegetative screening is. See a nod. Okay. Okay. Hearing no further discussion, look for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Ashley. Seconded by Brad to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried, public hearing is closed. Okay, we will now go through the findings of fact for this conditional use permit. The conditional use will not be injurious to the health, safety, morals, and general welfare of residents of Clay County. They had a bunch of these in the past. We have a standard requirements. So I would say that yes. The conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purpose already permitted.
And Mr. Chair, maybe just to help with this finding a little bit, I did pull up the screening requirements. From our ordinance. It's not letting me scroll though. So essentially, have to be screened from dwellings or other land uses as required by the planning commission unless the affected property owner agrees otherwise. You can require screening where it determines there's a clear community interest in maintaining a view shed. The type and location of required screening shall be subject to planning commission approval. And then screening shall be maintained for the lifetime of the project. Dead or diseased vegetation shall be removed and promptly replaced.
That sounds good.
So those are standards right in our code.
Okay. Thank you. I will reread number 2. The conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for purposes already permitted. We do some screening. I mean, screening is required. Granted, some people will not like to look at it, but some people don't like looking at corn. Establishment of the conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for uses predominant in the area. That's something allowed under our code, and it won't have any effect on that. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide utilities, access roads, drainage, off-street parking, and loading spaces as required by this ordinance. Did Justin has taken a look at this and we're okay with access from?
Yes, and the applicant has corresponded directly with the highway department on this, yep.
Okay. Adequate measures have been or will be taken to prevent or control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, vibration, water pollution, and soil erosion, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance, and to control lighted signs or other lights in such a manner that no disturbance to neighboring properties will result. And once construction is done, except for maintenance a couple times a year, there's nothing that goes on there.
Yep.
The conditional use will not create an excessive burden on current or anticipated public infrastructure or services that serve or are proposed to serve the area, included but not limited to parks, schools, public safety services, roads, water supply, sanitary sewers, storm sewers, unless the county and the applicant establish a development agreement that determines how such impacts will be resolved. As it's kind of a non-applicable. The conditional use is allowed by this ordinance and conforms with any specific use standards in Chapter 8, use regulations as may be applicable. Right in with many others. The conditional use is consistent with the goals and objectives of the Clay County Comprehensive and Transportation Plan and any comprehensive plan of a township or city as may be applicable. It is taking some prime farmland out of production. But
It's giving a break to.
it is reversible, and
Yeah, it's giving it a break, and so it can always go back.
one of the things that we require is, permanent vegetation, so it could be pollinators, it could be, but it'd be other, won't be any soil erosion or. Okay. Staff has 6 potential conditions or 6 conditions listed. We can modify that if we deem necessary.
And Mr. Chair, that last one, maybe, just because the applicant indicated that they're able to be flexible with that, if the lot line's adjusted, maybe that could be removed in a screening, more defined screening condition could be added instead. Or that could be kept in a screening condition, could be added in addition to that.
That is the one that I had a question on, so they had talked about it, but they don't need to.
No.
But,
You want to read the 6 conditions?
Sure. Applicant must abide by the provisions of the Clay County Land Development and Subdivision Ordinance. Applicant shall obtain all applicable local, state, federal permits. Before any construction, shall provide copies of them to the planning office. The project owner or operator must provide a decommissioning surety bond, cash deposit with Clay County or a letter of credit for $50,000 per megawatt. Project must meet the Minnesota Board of Water and Soil Resources Beneficial Habitat Standards as outlined in MN Statutes 216B.1642. The project owner or operator must provide a surety bond cash deposit with Clay County or a letter of credit for 125% of the cost of establishing native plant cover on the project site. And then the outbuilding lot line encroachment must be resolved through a boundary line adjustment in order to mitigate future property line setback issues with the project. These conditions are standard for, one condition that I just think maybe we could add to if we're moving forward for approval is just that giving a time when the project has to be established by, because I know in the past we've had,
3 years.
3 years? Yeah, okay. So project must be established by December 31st of 2029.
That gives them time to build it out, yeah. I'd like to see that as a condition, so they don't have to come back here in a year if they haven't started. They plan on starting in the fall of 2027, they'd be back here before they even start.
Well, like Sunset, and we've had
Yeah.
some of them in the past that have
Yeah.
come forward, had to be redone.
I guess my question for the commission would be, should condition 6 stay or go?
I would get rid of it. Because if they ever do sell it, that property line will have to be dealt with then.
Okay, I would agree with eliminating as printed and replacing it with a 3-year build window.
And the screening part's already in the ordinance, so we don't need to make that a condition, right?
Unless, well, in the ordinance you do, as the planning gives you, as the planning commission, authority to be more deliberate or specific about this type and location of screening. If you so choose.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of,
But it is required.
is required by the ordinance, so.
And that will take care of the residents that are around there? Is that,
Yep, that's a all residences, they need to have 100% screening, yep.
Okay. Everybody okay with the 6? Okay, here's that point in time where we look for a motion to approve or deny the permit with the 6 conditions.
I would motion to approve the application with the 6 proposed conditions.
Motion by Josh.
Steichen, second.
Seconded by Mr. Steichen. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I,
Call for a roll. Mr. Bear?
Aye.
Kurt? Sebastian?
Nay.
Brad? David?
Aye.
Jeff? Ashley?
nay.
Josh?
Aye.
Laura? Okay, well, motion carries. We have a majority. The permit is granted. Any unfinished business, Mr. Matt?
No, Mr. Chair.
How about new business?
Yes, I should note that as of July 1st, the IRS has increased the mileage rates from 72.5 cents to 76 cents. So that's 3.5 cents per mile in your pocket. So, I know everyone's going to be looking to move further away from Clay County or from Moorhead now. after hearing that, so.
Well, I can
Not
only go about a mile east and I'm in Becker County, so.
So you're good. And that's all that I have.
And then, we are intending on having an update and discussion on solar, particularly bigger solar projects.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I think my understanding of it is the focus is gonna be kind of on the projects that would fall under the purview of the PUC and kind of the county role, and then also how residents can contribute to that process. County and township and residents, is that kind of my understanding of what you would like to hear? As well as an update to, the current project that we know about, and then potentially any other projects that might be coming up as well, if we hear about any more. So, I've been watching, these larger projects are noticed every week, by the state, and I get an email every Tuesday about them. And there's been quite a few, that have a battery energy storage component involved in them as well. And we haven't seen any of those in Clay County, but that's something I can certainly talk about in August as well at our meeting.
Okay, thank you, everyone. We are scheduled to meet again the third Tuesday in August. I don't remember the 13th?
18th.
Does anybody have any further items for discussion? Hearing none, look for a motion to adjourn.
So move. Second.
Motion by Laura and seconded by Brad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.